The villa stood alone, a silhouette against the bruised sky. Ivy, thick and gnarled, strangled the stone walls. Windows, like vacant eyes, stared out blindly. The air hung heavy, thick with the scent of decay and the weight of forgotten secrets. No birds sang here, only silence. The iron gates groaned open, a rusted moan echoing in the stillness. The path, choked with weeds, led to the imposing oak door. Above it, a tarnished crest bore a single word: silentium, silence. A fitting name, the friends thought, for a place seemingly untouched by life. Jonah, the pragmatic one, pushed open the heavy door. Elara, the artist, with eyes that saw beauty and decay, stepped inside. Liam, the historian, followed, his backpack laden with notebooks and cameras. They were an unlikely trio, bound by an unspoken understanding forged through years of shared adventures. Their friendship was their anchor, a lifeline in a world that often felt chaotic and unpredictable. Inside the villa, the air grew colder. Dust motes danced in the faint beams of their flashlights. They had come seeking adventure. They found only an unsettling stillness. The first night they explored, each room a testament to a forgotten grandeur. Cobwebs clung to chandeliers. Dust lay heavy on velvet drapes. In the grand salon, they found it. A portrait, a woman draped in emerald silk, stared out with hauntingly familiar eyes. Her gaze seemed to follow them, a trick of the light, they agreed, yet as they moved, so did the shadows in the painting. Elara felt a chill. Liam, ever the skeptic, dismissed it. Jonah, however, felt a prickle of unease. Something was not right. Sleep came reluctantly. The silence of the villa pressed down. Each creak of the floorboards, each sigh of the wind sent shivers down their spines. When they gathered in the pale morning light, they couldn't meet each other's eyes. The painting had changed. The woman in emerald now wore a faint smile. A single tear traced a path through the dust on her cheek. "It's a trick," Liam insisted, his voice lacking conviction. Elara, pale and silent, traced the outline of the painting in her sketchbook. A sense of foreboding settled over them. Jonah was gone. They found his sleeping bag empty, the room undisturbed. Panic clawed at their throats. They searched the villa, their calls echoing unanswered through the empty rooms. In the basement, they found his flashlight, its beam flickering weakly on the damp stone floor. The air hung heavy, thick with the scent of mildew and fear. Liam, his face ashen, picked up the flashlight. A single word escaped his lips, barely a whisper. Jonah. Elara, her hand trembling, clutched her sketchbook. The portrait! They had to see the portrait! The woman in the painting had transformed. Gone was the emerald silk. Now she wore a tattered gown the color of ash. Her eyes, once filled with a haunting familiarity, blazed with an unholy light. Elara backed away, her heart pounding against her ribs. Where was Liam? She was alone. The realization slammed into her, cold and sharp. She called for Liam, her voice echoing hollowly in the vastness of the salon. The only response was the rustle of silk from the portrait. The woman in the painting was moving. The woman stepped out of the canvas. No longer a prisoner of paint and wood, she stood before Elara. Her touch was icy, her grip like a vice. "He belonged to me," she hissed, her voice a raspy whisper that seemed to slither across Elara's skin. Elara struggled against the grip, her eyes darting to the now empty canvas. The woman's laughter echoed around her, cold and devoid of humor. "You cannot escape," she whispered, her breath hot against Elara's ear. "This villa claims all who enter." A hand grabbed Elara's arm. "Liam!" His face was a mask of terror, his voice strained. "Run!" he shouted, pulling her towards the door. They ran, their breath catching in their throats, the woman's laughter echoing behind them. The villa seemed to close in, the walls pressing down. They stumbled through the darkened corridors, their only guide the faint light filtering through the grimy windows. The front door loomed ahead. Hope, fragile and fleeting, flickered in Elara's chest. Could they escape? Liam reached the door first, fumbling with the rusted handle. It wouldn't budge. He threw his weight against it, but the door remained stubbornly shut. Behind them, the woman's laughter grew louder, closer. Elara felt a cold hand close around her ankle. She screamed, a primal sound of fear and despair. The shadows from the painting stretched, reaching out like grasping claws. They enveloped Liam first, dragging him back into the darkness. Elara, her hand outstretched, could only watch in horror as the shadows claimed her too. The villa fell silent.